Welcome and or welcome back to the channel. I have some books to talk about, and for the most part, they're not great. Yeah, they're not great. Hold on, let me move some of this stuff out of the way because I just finished filming some new thing and I got a big stack of stuff from October. Give me a second. Let me hit you with the one book that I read this week that I liked a lot. Because there's just the one. It's just the one, guys. Ooh, that's Remember You Will Die by Eden Robbins. This was great. So I think I liked this, but I don't think I can recommend this super widely. I think if you are the type of person who goes down rabbit trails on the internet, you Google one thing to learn about it and you're like, oh, that's fascinating. What's this thing it's linked to? You click the link and you're like, oh, interesting. But wait, who is that? And you click that link. This is going to be for you. So that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I don't want to talk about it. It causes problems. So this is about an AI named Peregrine. Peregrine is, and we never get her point of view, but Peregrine is trying to grapple with the loss of her daughter. She has disappeared, or she is drowned. You don't really know. Peregrine doesn't know because her body's never recovered. So you never know for sure if her daughter Poppy has died, and Peregrine is going down these rabbit trails on the internet trying to deal with that grief, but also to learn about her and Poppy's life and the people connected to them, and then those people's connections throughout time to other people. So we're looking at the people who sheltered them at times, the man who created her, what he was inspired by, who was his opponents, what they were inspired by. We learn about this tree of life that's this, like, what is the word I want? Invasive tree that's like taking over the planet. And the whole time she's going down these rabbit trails, we're starting to see the shape of this dystopic world that they're in, where AI as a collective has left Earth behind and is living in this cloud situation because a lot of people on Earth do not want AI around, or AI personalities. And Peregrine is one of these personalities that has managed to inhabit a body. So she has a daughter. And it's absolutely fascinating. There were a lot of little things in here too, like history is tweaked a bit. She writes that she finds references to Anne Frank, and we see that Anne Frank survived the Holocaust, but then we also get this allusion to, did she survive, or was there time travel that had something to do with that? Like little hints and things. It's one of those things like you sort of almost end up in conspiracy theory places when you go on these rabbit trails. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I mean, you can kind of see I tabbed the colors there. I tabbed the dang it out of this. It was something I wanted to continually pick up. I didn't want to put it down. I was constantly picking this up and reading it slowly at that. This is something I'll revisit. I would be interested in this if it had like a audio format. I don't know if it does, but I might look into it. But this was good. If that sounds interesting to you, 100% recommend this. It was great. It was the best thing I read this week. Everything else that I read this week, it's like a 2. It's like a 2-star. It's not great. So let's do this quickly. I read the sequel to Under the Oak Tree. I read volume 2. I didn't like it. I had hopes at the end of volume 1 that we would see some character growth in Maxie and Riften, and we kind of started to see that at the end of the volume. But in volume 2, they kind of just fall back into those same roles that they had at the beginning of volume 1. Maxie has absolutely no self-worth or self-esteem. She is immediately challenged by the first woman that shows up in her lands, and Riften becomes even more driven by his dick. One of the things the scene that really bothered me the most in that is she gets sick at one point and he's taking care of her, and he's groaning and moaning about how, out loud, about how he wants to have sex with her, but she's sick, and damn her, he wants to do it, but he's not going to. And like, listen, I'm married and my husband is the sweetest man in the world, and he would never do that or say that to me while I'm sick. He has taken care of me while I'm sick, and this has not been an issue. Men aren't driven by their, I know other men, they're not completely driven by their penises. Like, come on now. It was just, I just didn't like it. I didn't like that bit. And then Maxie was just disappointing. So 2 stars. Will not be getting a copy of volume 2. And I'm going to unhaul my copy of volume 1 because I don't think I will reread it if I didn't enjoy volume 2. In fact, I was so off put by volume 2 that I don't want to reread it. So there you go. Another 2-star. We'll talk about Vesselless for a similar reason I didn't like Vesselless. Courtney Elwyn. This was a romantasy book talk darling from last year that's been traditionally published this year. But first off, this new cover, the old cover was better. It wasn't great, but it was better. And second off, this was unpopular opinion. This felt like a reskinned, a recolored version of Serpent and the Wings of Night. We had a very similar dynamic. The characters felt exactly the same to me. And the world building had a lot of promise. There was a lot that I was interested in, but it was so clumsily and messily explained that I was just sat there going, this doesn't make any sense. From a fantasy reader standpoint, this makes no sense. One of the big examples that I gave my husband that I still am annoyed at is her father's magic. He's trying to keep her pristine and perfect. She has to be a virgin because she's a virgin main character for stupid reasons. She has to be a virgin. She has to be unscarred and unmarred. So she's also this badass warrior who's in all these duels, and she's going to fight this tournament because she wants something from her father. Sound familiar? She's getting stabbed frequently with daggers, cut with swords, and these aren't small wounds. At one point, she is stabbed in the ribs and the blade is twisted as it goes in. The person's magic is holding it. It stabs and twists. So it's tearing muscle and ligament and skin. And that's just one of hundreds, it feels like. She's been doing this for years. So yeah, it has to be hundreds, thousands. She does it daily almost. And her father uses his magic to cover it up. He effectively, from the text, that I may be misunderstanding it, but the way the text wrote it is the skin closes. The wound is still there. When she touches it, she feels the wound under the skin, but the skin is closed. Honey, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense, y'all. Not only is she still going to be torn muscles and ligaments, she's not going to get up and go fight another duel in a couple of days or even a week from that one wound alone, not to mention the 2 on her back. But that's going to cause some messed up healing, right? You're going to get infections. Your blood's going to pool in one spot. Your muscles might not reattach properly. That was one big complaint I had, that I spent the whole book completely confused and annoyed. And the other thing that really bothered me was there was a lot of close calls of female characters being assaulted. This was a side character or the main character. And in one particular portion that I found a little egregious, the main character, who's never been kissed, she's never been with a man, her first kiss is stolen from a guy, and then that guy proceeds to nearly assault her. He has her clothes off or almost off, and the male main character comes in at the last moment, saves her, and then within an hour or two she's climbing all over him. And everybody's trauma response is different. I get it, I understand, but that seems a little much. I just saying, I don't like it. It made me uncomfortable. From personal experience, no. So no, I don't recommend this one. I didn't like it. Sorry. I know that's a hot take. And finally, speaking of more books that I don't know if I recommend, this one I will say I don't know if I recommend it, but I also don't know if I hate it or I love it, because it is making me think, and it is a horror novel, and that's kind of the point of a horror novel, right? It's to make you think. You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. So this one, I really, really wanted to read this one for 2 reasons. It's set in West Virginia, which is very close to me. It takes me less than 20 minutes to drive into West Virginia. And it's got a earthworm cult. So our premise here is Crane. I had to think for a minute what his name was. Crane is a trans man. He's a member of a cult that revolves around the hive. And the hive is this big nest of flies and earthworms that talks to people and asks things of them. And they accept these outcasts of society, or people who feel that they are outcasts. They accept them with absolutely no qualms. So Crane is part of this cult. And at the beginning of the novel, you find out that Crane is pregnant, and he shouldn't be pregnant. He's on testosterone. He's been on testosterone for a long time, and yet here we are. Now, there are other sections of the hive. They have groups in different cities and places across West Virginia, and I think it's head into the Carolinas and Tennessee. And Crane's boyfriend is always traveling as an enforcer to these other places, and you find out there's maybe some sort of a reason, a plot for this. Other people are turning up pregnant from other hives. that sort of thing. This book really looks at the idea of choice, I think. Like, it took me a long time to actually see the themes because, you know, most horror, good horror, has themes. This one, it felt like one of the biggest themes were choice in pregnancy, which is something, you know, with my history, I fully believe everyone should have a choice in a pregnancy. But it's kind of masked behind the extremeness of this because this felt very much like an extreme horror to me. The ending felt like a shock moment, and I think I did not like the ending for personal reasons and just narrative reasons. It felt like the wrong choice narratively because, without going into too many spoilers, something happens right before the baby is born. Some people show up that we have no reason for them to be there. They just came out of nowhere. Prior to a certain choice being made, we are told the hive cannot be destroyed, so I must do this thing to protect this individual. Thing is done, but then hive is destroyed. Spoiler. People are destroyed, people are killed, hive is destroyed. So why did we do the thing in the to begin with? We didn't need to. It felt a little contradictory. I'm gonna have to spoiler tag that. Don't know if I recommend this to y'all. Do not read it without checking trigger warnings. Don't read it without checking trigger warnings, because if you have something that's going to upset you, it's probably in this book. We got bugs, murder, gore, pregnancy, childbirth, abortion, loss of a child, miscarriage, gun violence, vomit, blood, wounds, insect buggy horror. Did I mention that? What else? Parental neglect, abuse, spousal partner abuse, oh my gosh, graphic sex, violent sex, even if it's consensual, choking, all of the trigger warnings are in this. Sexual harassment, sexual assault, dead naming, you name it, it's probably in there. So know that. But yeah, that's it. That's the week. There's a hair tickling my arm. So don't know if I recommend most of what I read this week, and that's sad for me. But you know what? I feel good. I feel good because I'm getting books off my TBR, and that's okay. I am, however, excited about what I'm reading now, so I will tell you that. My e-arc is Hold Me Like a Grudge. There's no cover. It's just this picture, which is a WWE-inspired male-male romance, which, wait, hear me out. I thought this was not going to be good. I was like, oh, this is low-hanging fruit, okay? If you've watched any WWE, low-hanging fruit, okay? One of my best friends spends the entire time that we watch wrestling together making these jokes. But this feels thoughtful. It feels like the author is a fan. It really goes into the backstage part of wrestling. She knows the ins and outs. She knows, you know, what these artists, these sportsmen, these sportswomen do to do this sport. Like, it's thoughtful. It's good. I like it so far. Now I'm only 30% of the way through, but I like it so far. So fingers crossed that will stay strong. It doesn't come out till next year, so you have plenty of time to think on it. I got today and immediately started reading Rental Person Who Does Nothing. This is a memoir by Shoji Morimoto. I had never heard of this nor this person. Not Rachel. I do wish Rachel from Colonnati would come back, but Angela from Literature Science Alliance read this for a book club and was talking about it on her channel. I get a lot of really good book recommendations from her. It's very pretty. And it's about a man who, he's a rental person to do nothing. So, for example, in the first little bit that I read, someone hires him to go with her to try a flavor at Starbucks, like a new seasonal flavor. She has no one else to go with. She doesn't want to go alone because she doesn't want to waste the drink. So she says, come with me. We don't have to talk much. That's part of his stipulation. Short, like 1 to 2 word answers is always what he does when talked to at these events or these jobs. Just finish the drink with me. So he goes and he talks about it. And it's kind of him looking at the idea of like human connection and what humans need in this day and age. I think it sounds great. And unintentionally, matching the color scheme, I am also reading Apprehension and Red Star Hustle. This is one of the saga doubles. This came out last month. I'm behind because last month was a mess. But I have started this. I'm about halfway through Mary Robinette Kowal's story Apprehension so far, and I am enjoying it immensely. I do quite like the color coordination here. Isn't that fun? In fact, I think if I had a physical copy of Hold Me Like a Grudge, it would almost get along more on the blue tone because it's a little more blue. Not so much. It's mainly these. But I'm liking this so far. I don't remember the premise of Red Star Hustle, but Apprehension is about an elderly woman who has got her son-in-law and her grandson, and they're visiting a planet that she once I can't talk. She once served in a war on. She was a POW there. It's now a tourist location. They're there. They get embroiled in this assassination plot. So I am enjoying that. I read quite a sizable chunk at the library yesterday. That is everything I'm currently reading. Everything that I read this week, and I don't recommend for the most part, except for this. This was great. I really liked this. This was fantastic. I'm so very happy that I bought this because this was such a good read. So let me know what you have read this week that you really liked, even if there's stuff that you've read that you don't like. And I'll talk to you guys again, hopefully next week. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all. Also, I got a new Fuggler for my Kindle. I'm sorry. I got a new keychain on my Kindle because I'm going to make my Kindle obnoxious. Why? I don't know. I want to. So I got this Fuggler because I love Fugglers. Miss me with the Labubu's, but sign me up for these ugly motherfuckers. Sign me up. I love them. And then I got a little charm. It says, I buy books like I'm immortal. It's very cute. I have a new insert to put right here coming from Etsy. And then I also asked my husband for, they're called hippers. You're supposed to put them on your phones, but they like stick to the top and peer over the top. I want to get one of the blind boxes of the Sunny's Angels for Christmas, and I'm going to put it right here. I'm making my Kindle as obnoxious as I can. I'm in one of those moods. Yeah, okay. Bye.